The story behind League of Legends. Episode 6, Noxus. Noxus is a powerful empire with a fearsome reputation. To those beyond its borders, Noxus is brutal, expansionist and threatening, yet those who look beyond its warlike exterior see an unusually inclusive society, where the strengths and talents of its people are respected and cultivated. Its people were once a fierce reaver culture until they stormed the ancient city that now lies at the heart of their empire. Under threat from all sides, they aggressively took the fight to their enemies, pushing their borders outward with every passing year. This struggle for survival has made the Noxians a deeply proud people who value strength above all, though that strength can manifest by many different means. Anyone can rise to a position of power and respect within Noxus if they display the necessary aptitude, regardless of social standing, background, homeland, or wealth. Lore. The human nation of Noxus is in many ways the moral antithesis of Demacia. It is a country where the physically and mentally strong acquire power through any means, regardless of the consequences to their fellow citizens. Locations. The Empire of Noxus, commonly referred to as Noxus, is a nation located on the eastern part of Valoran, sharing its borders with Shurima. There are currently 12 known locations within Noxus. Northern Plains. Located at the northern edge of the empire, the plains are currently occupied by cold. With harsh dust-filled windy weather, many travelers have lost their lives in this unforgiving wasteland. From the weather or from a certain Yordle and his mythic Skarl Dracolops, most Noxians avoid traveling through this landscape. Noxus Prime. The largest city in the empire, the capital is the main political, cultural, religious, military, economic and educational center of the country. The whole city was built into a mountain, with a main palace, housing the Grand General's quarters, located at its peak. The main palace is also one of the oldest buildings in the city. Known also as the Immortal Bastion, it was once the main fortress of the brutal warlord known as Mordekaiser. Towering spires litter the skyline of the city. Many noble houses are located in the capital, such as the Ducado. While nowhere near clean and pristine in appearance as Demacia's capital, the city is the visual representation of the empire's might, power, and strength. The city has many war memorials that honor the courageous dead. Noxian Bleak Academy is the main center for the Empire's techmeturgical research and has close relations with Zum's College of Techmeturgy. The city is also the headquarters of the infamous Black Rose organization. Ivory War District. The Ivory Ward itself is one of the oldest and most wealthy districts in the Noxian capital. Its marketplace was the center of a serious riot following the death of Borum Darkwill. The compromised marketplace remains under investigation by Noxian authorities, and residents of the Ivory Ward have drastically increased their security. Sion's Memorial. This memorial and tomb is dedicated to Sion, a Noxian war hero celebrated as the killer of the Demacian king Jarvan I. It was later used to contain the resurrected form of Sion before Swain, with the aid of the Black Rose, was successfully able to control him by the use of Jarvan IV's blood. The current state of this memorial is unknown, though the former man once housed in it unwillingly serves Noxus, mainly its Grand General, once more. The Fleshing Arena. Noxus was renowned for a spectacle called the Fleshing. It was a gladiatorial event with a cruel twist. As a fighter wins their matches, the number of opponents they fight simultaneously, generally other prisoners of war, would increase. This meant eventual death for every contender, though also unparalleled glory. Both Xin Zhao, the Seneschal of Demacia, and Alistar, the Minotaur, are survivors of the spectacle, with Xin Zhao holding the record for defeating the most opponents. Culture. As Noxus expands and defeats neighboring cultures and cities, it offers the conquered people a choice. Swear loyalty to Noxus and be judged solely on your worth, or be destroyed. This is not subterfuge or any kind of ruse. The Noxians are as good as their word, and many who have embraced the Conqueror's way of life find their prospects greatly improved. but those who refuse to bend the knee are crushed without mercy. Whether a city is taken by force or willingly swears fealty to Noxus, its warmasons immediately set to work in stamping the Empire's authority upon the newly acquired territory. Gateways of dark stone quarried from the mountains surrounding the capital are raised on every road leading to the city. Known throughout Valoran as Noxtra, gateway to Noxus in Nox, these towering structures leave approaching travelers no doubt as to who holds the reins of power. The citizenry of Noxus generally stands behind the principle that only the strong survive, regarding the qualities of benevolence and compassion as signs of weakness. Strength begets strength, at least as far as the humans of Noxus are concerned. The seeming cruelty, however, is not an indicator of chaos. As is naturally and necessarily the case with humankind, Noxus is an orderly country, where rules protect the citizenry from harm, at least from their peers. In Noxus, however, those with power are clearly protected by the law more than those without it. Where other human settlements tend to welcome non-humans into their midst, Noxians are decidedly xenophobic. Non-humans are, at best, made to feel unwelcome within the borders of this nation. There are exceptions to this, but only after the non-humans in question have proven themselves to be either useful or feared, or both. Human visitors and immigrants to Noxus are made to feel only slightly better, again proving themselves only by either demonstrating competence or inspiring terror in their enemies. The Empire of Noxus is a nation that resembles its inhabitants, dark and sinister. The foundation of the capital was built into a granite mountain, and a fair portion of the city lies underground. Structures are built on top of and into the mountain itself. A tremendous man-made moat, filled with a witch's brew of foul and putrid liquids, circumnavigates the city. The moat serves as a powerful means of cutting off access to Noxus through all but a few key points, which are heavily guarded. At the top of the granite mountain resides the headquarters of the Noxian High Command. The mountain itself vaguely resembles a demonic skull from a distance. Beyond the huge city walls lie the Noxian denizens that are too poor, or not lucky enough, to live inside. The subterranean city level of the Noxian capital is almost as large as the top level, with numerous shops, taverns, and residences comprising the seedy underbelly of the notorious nation. Noxus contains the largest network of dungeons anywhere on Runeterra, with numerous Noxian nobles claiming ownership over the various labyrinthine passages and subterranean rooms. Government. The ruling political organization of Noxus is called the Noxian High Command, and it acts as the head of the military. In Noxus, the military controls every aspect of the political landscape. There is no separation between the warfare and politics. The eternally youthful-looking leader of the High Command, General Borum Darkwill, had ruled Noxus for countless years. General Darkwill had far exceeded his average lifespan as a human. It is rumored that he was kept alive through necromantic magic. Such a conclusion would seem to make sense, especially when considering that he had ruled the Noxian High Command since before the time of King Jarvan I of Demacia. His seemingly endless hunger for power and conquest has driven Noxus to be the nightmarish threat to its neighbors that it is today. In more recent times, the Noxian government was in a transition state. General Borum Darkwill was assassinated, and Noxian High Command was in the process of selecting the next Grand General. There was a power struggle between the different generals, and political squabbles between their supporters had broken out across the Empire. Finally, by defeating challenger Karen Darkwill, Jericho Swain assumed the position of Grand General of Noxus. He was able to overcome the odds of the duel with his cunning and quick wits. With the support of his allies, namely Darius, he seized the highest position in Noxus. Military. The armies of Noxus appear to be little more than barbarous hosts of individual warbands, but this belies the discipline and sophistication required to make such a formation viable. The success of Noxian armies is undeniable, and their very diversity is testament to their effectiveness. Conquered peoples that swear loyalty to Noxus become part of its armies and add their unique strength to the Empire's war efforts. Thus, regimentation and uniformity are anathema to the Noxian way of life, and each warband is celebrated for the many and varied methods of war it brings to bear. Military service in Noxus is compulsory for a period of 6 years, with all of its citizens retained as active reservists until their golden years. The Noxian High Command reserves the right to draft any of its citizens, regardless of age, into military service in times of dire need. Active Noxian military personnel are afforded a higher level of citizenship in Noxian society, and it is not uncommon for most citizens to remain active in the military for 10 or more years. There is seldom a lack of work in the Noxian military, even with the forced quasi-peace that exists between Noxus and their eternal rivals, the Dalmatians. Relations. Bilgewater. Thanks to Gangplank's marauding against Noxian war fleets, Bilgewater and Noxus are on shaky terms with one another. However, Bilgewater pirates on occasion will assist the Noxian military, should they see the endeavor profitable. Though the Noxian military campaigns were eventually stopped, Katarina, the Sinister Blade, is a mainstay down at Bilgewater's Fleet Street. She can often be seen poking her head into the pubs and taverns in search of sailors down on their luck, offering an even share of the plunder to those willing to sail under her command. At some point the Saltwater Scourge managed to steal the Leviathan, Swain's personal warship, earning the personal enmity of Noxus's Grand General. After Gangplank's fall from power, it is unknown if relations between Bilgewater and Noxus have improved. Dalmatia. Noxian hostilities with Dalmatia and likewise stretches far back in the nation's histories. Having fought at least 2 wars with each other, the two nations are political, military and ideological rivals and see the other as a threat. The death of King Jarvan I Lightshield at the hands of Sion, a general of Noxus, is celebrated as a national event in the Empire. Tensions between the two nations has not changed and will likely not change until one of the two factions gives up. Freljord. In more recent times, the Noxians' barbarian pacification campaign was halted when the barbarians allied themselves to Freljord. The Empire puts its efforts into growing separatist ideas within Freljord, holding it back from ever truly challenging it as a nation. Ionia. Ionia, a land rich in magical energy, proved a fertile ground for Noxus to plunder and search artifacts of great power to serve as weapons of mass destruction. All in an attempt to fuel the Empire's never-ending expansion with the added benefit of maintaining an edge on Dalmatia. Shurima. A favorite location for Noxian plunderers and poachers, Shurima represents a land of opportunity for most Noxian citizens that decide to go there. People like Kalon's uncle and Cassiopeia would risk everything to seek out wealth and power in this unforgiving land. Noxians usually hire local guides and mercenaries such as Sivir for their grave plunders. Azur, the self-proclaimed Empire of Shurima, has resurrected its ancient capital and has made his mission to resurrect the old empire as well. Time will only tell as to what political relations Shurima and Noxus will have in this new political landscape. Zon. The Empire shares a friendly relationship with the nation of Zon. Noxus assists Dr. Mundo, the madman of Zon, in his ambition to create the perfect science-enhanced killer. They have provided the Doctor a laboratory within their city and have given him free rein to pursue his life's work in his spare time. Mercenaries from the nation were also recruited by Noxus during their invasion of Ionia, the two most heinous of them being Singed, the Mad Chemist, and Warwick, the Blood Hunter. The brand of mass death and destruction these two madmen unleashed remains a festering scar on Ionian history. When the necromantic reanimation of Urgot, the headsman's pride, proved problematic for Noxus due to his lifetime of injuries. A prevailing scholar of Zon named Professor Stanwick repeatedly provided the solution by forging a new body for the headsman. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to share video and subscribe us channel.